Caution: this game contains scenes of violence and gore, as well as depictions of criminal acts. These acts are strictly punished by law. Please do not attempt to imitate them. This game also contains themes of sexual violence and self harm. This game is a work of fiction. Any relationship to real persons, groups, places, or crimes is coincidental. Really, I gotta come back to this bum. Okay, I get that he's suicidal, but this is some bum shit. Go jump off the building, nigga. You don't actually want to kill yourself. Now, I really had to go and leave Peak Fiction to come. You know, and his suicide, his whatever. I'm really being an asshole and treating it very poorly right now. I just liked how he was showing his suicidality before more than before he started just spam me. And I said really bad things. I should not have said just go jump off the building right now. See, I don't like this because like we were doing so well with the depiction of him being suicidal and making an attempt on his life, and then he just started spamming the group chat with "Kill me, nigga, please kill me, kill me." I'm not reading all this shit. If you stay a virgin until age 30, you learn to use magic. That's important, so don't forget it. It'll be on the test. And I'm telling you things that are important. Shibuya Scramble Crossing. 1 hour from now, something big is gonna go down. Wait, how close are we to the end of the game? We're rolling on the floor laughing. Cut that shit out, nigga. Shut the fuck up. Go see what's happening then. You're famous. They'll all be excited to see you. Maybe someone will kill you there. How does he know who Nightheart is? I turned the power to the monitor off and pulled my legs up onto the chair. I was holding my one ally, Sanaton, in my hand. My hands were so sweaty that her slender torso was now sticky and disgusting. Her arms were bent at an unnatural angle, too. That voice. No. How? There was no mistaking it. Out of all the girls who visited the base, there's only one to yell like that. Nanami was here. I was a little shocked at how little emotions inspired in me. I just didn't care. Even if Nanami was here, what difference did it make? It wasn't even that strange that she'd be here. Rimi had said she was going to save her, right? The way she was yelling was starting to annoy me. I'm a monster. Just leave me alone. Just forget about me and think about your right hand instead. Not that I even know what happened to it. I never wanted to talk to another person again. But she was just so annoying that I found myself getting out of the chair and heading to the door. It felt like it was taking me a long, long time to get there. That's when I realized I was afraid of seeing her. I opened the door and saw Nanami there. She started in surprise, letting out a small cry, then fell silent. Brother, she'd been so loud a moment ago. Now she was quiet. I didn't understand. I'd never really seen her like this. So I started to wonder. Was this the real Nanami? If you're home, you should have answered sooner. Can I come in? I couldn't say a word. I ignored her question and went back inside, sat down on my sofa. I gripped the Sataton figure again. I was holding it a little too tightly and my hand hurt a little. But even that pain was a delusion. Nanami followed me into the room silently. She seemed like she didn't know what to do, so she moved a few magazines out of the way and crouched on the floor. She didn't say a word. Normally, this would be when she started to lecture me about something. But instead, she just crouched there, staring at the floor, depressed. I could see a bandage around her right wrist poking out from under her sleeve. I was about to tell her that if she sat like that, I'd be able to see her, but I stopped. This Nanami was just a delusion. I was too. The whole world was just a delusion. A delusion taking place inside my brain. Me and everything I was seeing right now. All delusions, all fake. It didn't matter whether I could see her. Hell, it didn't matter if she walked through the streets of Shibuya naked. I looked away from Nanami and up at the ceiling. I started to count the rust spots there for no real reason. I didn't want Nanami to be in my field of vision. It would just make me even sadder. The silence continued. The only sound in the room was the sound of my computer fan. Nanami always used to be so annoying and loud when she came to the base. Maybe even those memories were a delusion. Hey, brother, say something. She sounded depressed. This wasn't the Nanami I knew. Which means she must be a delusion. Why won't you say anything? You don't care about my bandage and stuff? Focused my mind on counting the rust spots. I didn't care. You're just a delusion. Even if you're real, you're not my problem anyway. If I'm a delusion, I'm not even really your brother. Say something! Please! Suddenly, I could hear the sound of rustling cloth echo quietly throughout the room. My ears were ringing. My head hurt so bad. This was all just a delusion anyway, so I didn't care. Nanami could take off her clothes or her bandage. No matter what weird things she did, it wouldn't surprise me. I didn't care. This was a delusion. I was one too. Of course, weird stuff would happen randomly. That's how it worked. Come on! Look! I didn't look. I was scared to look. The bruise has mostly gone away. It was really bad at first. I tripped and hit it when I was playing basketball. You're not going to look? You know, you never worried about me at all, have you? I worry about you all the time, though. I didn't want to see anything anymore. I didn't want to think about anything. I called out to the girl in front of me, who might or might not be my sister. There was only one thing I wanted now. Just outside the front lobby of AH Tokyo General Hospital, Yua Kusunoki was staring at what lay beyond the automatic door. Bon had told her to leave, so she had come outside, but she'd been too worried to go any further than that. Bon had disappeared up the stairs, chasing a mysterious figure. It had been less than 3 minutes, but she was looking into the lobby to see if he would come back. After Bon had gone alone to the hospital, Yua had ignored Momose's warnings and gone after him. She needed to do whatever it would take to find out the truth about her sister's death and who had killed her. Somebody had sent Bon those threatening phone calls and kidnapped his partner Sua. Whoever it was, they were probably the person who killed Mia. Something was telling her that, and so when the urge had come to follow him, she couldn't fight it off. Despite all of his warnings that getting involved was dangerous, she'd come here anyway. Of course, now that she was here, there wasn't anything she could do. She was just a powerless teenage girl. Her hope had been that Bond would heroically catch the killer, and then she'd have the question to chance him. Why did my little sister have to die? That was the question Yua wanted to ask most of all. She felt somebody looking at her. She glanced around nervously. The sun hadn't been down for more than 2 hours, but the hospital's front entrance was eerily silent. The after-hours entrance was right next to it. There was also where the emergency patients would be brought in. But there was nobody there. The train was passing by right alongside the hospital. There were almost no cars on the wide street in front of it, and no pedestrians at all. This spot between Shibuya and Shinjuku, two towns that never slept, was like a shadow born of two powerful lights. Whoever was looking at her, she couldn't find them. She put a hand on her chest and a deep breath to calm her nervousness. Then, for no real reason, she looked toward the hospital wards. A girl was standing there. The lights at the entrance to the wards were off, and it was hard to see, but for some reason she could see the girl clearly against the darkness. She whispered, knowing it was impossible, and yet unable to stay silent. The girl looked just like her. It looked just like her dead younger twin sister. She recognized the girl's outfit too. It was her younger sister's clothes. She thought for a moment that it might be a ghost, and the hairs on the back of her neck stood up on end. The girl turned around and ran, heading toward the automatic door that marked the entrance to the hospital ward. When she got close, the door opened. So she wasn't a ghost then. Yua stood there for a moment, stunned, before starting to run after her. The wards must have been past lights out, because it was even quieter than the outside. Each step Yua took echoed further down the hallways. Just like outside, the quiet was almost eerie. The girl disappeared up the stairs. She heard what sounded like a faint laugh. It was like a scene out of a horror movie, Yua thought to herself. She took a slow step up the stairs, and then another. She arrived at the second floor. She looked down the hallway, but there was nobody there. She wondered if maybe she was seeing things when... She heard a girl's laugh from the floor above. The voice, the way she laughed, Yua knew them both well. Yua went up to the third floor, looked down the hallway, and saw a girl who looked just like her standing there. One of the victims in the first Nugent case, the group dive. Her sister, who died 2 months ago. She was standing there, as real and solid as anything around her. Impossible! Yua took off her glasses and rubbed her eyes, but when she put them back on, Mia was still there. What do you think? The voice was too clear to be a hallucination. There was a fearless smile on the girl's face. It was just like Yua had remembered her. Mia was always like that. She always used to laugh in such a mocking way, so she could play the villain. Do you really think that I'm Mia and you're Yua? What do you mean? What if it was the other way around? You're Mia. Yua died and you killed her. What are you talking about? You were jealous of how your parents loved your sister. You hired a killer over the internet. And then you had 4 other people jump to their deaths along with her to make it look like a suicide. You took your sister's place. You pretended to be sad about her death. But while you wept crocodile tears, you were smiling to yourself. All because your parents' love was now yours. No, that's not true. I'm Yua. Can anybody prove that? I think I'm Yua, but you can't be sure. What proves that I'm me? My looks? My memories? My name? I know better than myself than anybody. But I can't prove that I'm myself. So it's possible that I'm Mia? You looked up all kinds of things when you were doing your research, right? Multiple personalities, sleepwalking, false memories, and delusions. All the research Yua had done about how imperfect memories were, and how easily they could be faked, suddenly seemed truly real for the first time. She didn't know who she was. Who was she? Mia shook her head violently. Yua, the girl who always played goody two-shoes, who was automatically loved and praised by her parents. Mia, the girl who was always played the bad girl, who actively sought out her parents' hate while being jealous of the affection they gave her older sister. Mia, or maybe Yua, began to guide Yua, or maybe Mia. Without a sound, they began to walk. Yua and Mia, two identical twins, indistinguishable from each other. The boundary between them grew more and more indistinct. The two buildings were huge boxes standing in the darkness, but compared to the huge skyscrapers of Shinjuku next to them, they were like children looking at grown-ups. The roof of the ward, that was where Mia had brought Yua. There was a gap torn in the corner of this tall fence surrounding it, just big enough for a person to pass through. It wasn't clear who had made it or why. Mia and Yua went through the gap and stood on the edge of the roof. In front of them was the outpatient building. It wasn't as tall as the building they were on, and they could see the garden below. But there were no lights there, and even if someone was there, Yua couldn't tell. The wind was blowing hard on the roof. The two girls' clothing was long. Soft hair flapped violently as the wind blew into them. Yua's voice was monotone. Her eyes were empty. She spread out her hands to keep her balance against the violent winds. Mia was right next to her, spreading out her hands in the same way. She turned to Yua and laughed. You don't have to keep your balance. You need to know my pain. Now, jump. And then you and I will share the same pain. Which am I? Me? You? It doesn't even matter. Whichever I am. All hesitation disappeared from within her, and Yua went to take a step forward. A gunshot tore through the night air. Suddenly, Yua snapped back to reality. She looked down beneath her and screamed. She saw how high up she was and suddenly felt dizzy. She lost her balance and almost fell. She grabbed desperately on the tall fence behind her and just barely managed to avoid falling. Gunshot had come from the roof of the other building below her. She looked down at it again. She could just barely make out human figures in the middle of the rooftop garden. There were two of them. One was lying on the ground. The other was standing next to it. Bun! Had the detective shot someone? Or had someone shot him? What are you doing? Why won't you suffer like I did? It's not fair. You're not being fair. Mia. No. I'm Yua. You're Mia. What are you? I'm what you desired. You're what I desired. Mia leapt at her. She wrapped her hands around Yua's neck. Yua felt incredible pressure on her throat. She couldn't breathe. Mia was no ghost. There was a real physical body in front of her, and it was strangling her. Please, die. Do what I want you to do, just this once. I always let you have your way. Yua's vision turned red. Her hands flailed through the air, but she couldn't grab onto anything. She was going to die here. In the face of this overwhelming fear, Yua used every muscle in her whole body to push back against Mia, with a strength she didn't even know she had. But Mia was strong, she didn't budge at all. Now even Yua's thoughts were turning red. Her mind felt like it was being covered in sticky red blood. She shook her head violently and her glasses fell off. Now from the outside you couldn't tell who was who. Whoever won could be whoever they wanted to. If Yua died, Mia could become Yua. If Mia died, Yua could become Mia. Yua felt a growing sense of resignation within her. In front of her was the face of Mia, or perhaps Yua, blurred with hatred. She looked away, not wanting to see it. With red eyes and red vision, she saw one of the flower beds with the flowers on the rooftop garden. It felt like there was a strange shadow mixed in with them. Maybe her eyes were playing tricks on her without her glasses, but now she couldn't even breathe. She felt a tiny sense of peace working its way through the pain. Part of her thought maybe it would be okay to give up, but her survival instincts made her reject the peace she felt. Yua reached out toward the strange shadow. The planter was at least 2 meters away. It was too far away to reach for her hand, but she felt something cold and hard in her hand. She grabbed it, almost unconsciously, and then her fading consciousness became clear again, as if a fog had lifted. A powerful, invisible shockwave shook the air. Red lights like flower petals danced in the sky, and her twin sister was knocked away. Yua coughed and staggered to her feet, then looked down in awe at the item in her hand. It was a sword. So dazzling, so elegant, so pure, so delicate and fragile, so beautiful it brought you to tears. What is this? The thing in her hands. The first thing it reminded her of was the sword she told Bon about, the one she'd seen Ayase holding in the tunnel. What? What was that? Mia crawled out of the planter that the shockwave had knocked her into. She was holding her head in pain. What did you do? Mia, I finally understand why I was so obsessed with figuring out why you died. Did you try to kill me? Was I about to die again? Again? In the end, I was just afraid of you. I thought you died to get back at me. I didn't understand you. I wanted to prove that it wasn't my fault you died, so I'd feel safe. I'm a terrible big sister, aren't I? Why? Why won't you die? There was no sense in talking to her anymore. Two hearts that had never been one were now completely separated, never to rejoin again. Mia came at her once more. You remembered the pain she'd felt just a moment ago and shivered in terror. No! There was a flash. The sword in her hand curved in a sharp arc. It sliced the ghost in two. Mia froze. She had a stunned expression on her face. She ran her hands along the wound, which ran from the left side of her face to her right shoulder. There was no blood. Mia died 2 months ago. So, who are you? Large particles, big enough to see with the naked eye, began to appear around Mia's body. Her body began to bubble and gradually fall apart, its outlines fading away. And then it transformed into something else. Yua looked on in shock. In Mia's place appeared a fat man. He was wearing a denim shirt with filthy jeans and had a backpack on his back. It was a man she'd never seen. Who are you? Why did you look like Mia? How? Confused, Yua began to step backwards, the D-sword still in her hand. The man hadn't expected her to see him. It appeared, and he was beginning to panic himself. How did you? Don't tell me this kid's a gigalomaniac. Nobody said anything about that. Shit, what do I do? The object was almost perfectly level as it flew at him, as if gravity didn't exist. Huh? By the time he turned around, it had already stabbed itself into the backpack he was carrying. A pale flash of light came from the backpack. He went perfectly still as if hit by an electric shock. His eyes rolled back into his head and he fell forward on his face. He was foaming at the mouth, and his body was twitching. The thing that had struck his backpack was a beautiful curved sword like the one you had grabbed from the air. This is... Yuo recognized the weapon. She'd seen it once before. Someone was coming closer. Yuo looked up. She saw someone appear out of the darkness. I just came to take a look. I guess something big happened, huh? Ayase gave Yua's sword a single, expressionless gaze. I can feel it. The great will. This must be the reason that I remained here in this hospital. Huh? Yua had fallen to the ground in shock. Ayase picked up Yua's glasses off the roof and offered them to her, taking a knee to look down at her face. Her slender fingers gently stroked Yua's hair as she put the glasses on her face. So, you too are a Black Knight of Gladio. Her smile was weak and fragile. Nanami's face tensed up, but she quickly forced a fake smile. Brother, that's not funny. That wasn't how Nanami would react. Instead of laughing it off, the real Nanami would yell, "That's not funny," and then I'd be in for a long lecture. Not that it mattered anyway. It didn't matter. If this Nanami wasn't going to kill me, then I wasn't interested in her at all. I could disappear right now and I wouldn't care. Sadatan and I stared into each other's eyes. If Sadatan was real, she'd grant my wish I knew. If I didn't exist anyways, why couldn't I be 2D instead? Hey, jokes aside, I need to talk to you about something. I, lost the bangle you gave me. Don't tell me that I didn't take good care of it. That's not true, I really did. But I don't know where I lost it. Heh. She actually cared about that thing? How stupid. From my perspective, it was the stupidest thing in the world. It was a present from me, wasn't it? Nothing I gave somebody could have any value at all. How could I be sure I'd even given it to her? Maybe the fact that I'd given it to her was all just delusion, too. This whole world was worthless. Everything in my memories was worthless. It was the first present you gave me, too. Why did I lose it, I wonder? Brother, why are you always like this? Her head slumped forward. She clenched her fist tightly. Nanami's whisper was soft. Just this once. Why can't you be like most big brothers? Somebody who can help me. What? You're asking the wrong person for help. I'm just a delusion. I stared at Sanatan's smile, making sure not to let myself see anything else. There was no reason to listen to Nanami's words. There was no point. I was just a delusion. I've always tried my hardest to be there for you. But once in a while, I want someone to be there for me. No, not just somebody. I want you to be there for me. You're my big brother. Sometimes I want you to help me with stuff. I mean, sure, you probably don't like it when I tell you to do things. But that's only because I have to. You're too lazy to do them yourself. No, that's not what I'm trying to say. Sometimes, there are times I want you to listen to me and complain. Or times when I want to cry, okay? Sometimes, I want you to be nice to me. I slowly looked up and saw Nanami crying. She was trying to hold back tears, but they were falling from her eyes anyway. Rimi Sakihara shivered as she opened the glass door and came inside what looked like a lobby. A freezing chill came up from the floor. There was no sign of anyone nearby. Given the location, that was only natural. But knowing what waited ahead, Rimi wished there was at least one person there. In front of her was a soundproof door, like you'd see at a movie theater. There was a chill coming from the gap between it and the floor, and a white fog like dry ice. Rimi bit down hard on her lip. She was holding her D-sword in both hands. She'd already real booted it. It'll be fine. So, don't be scared. Rimi told herself this as forcefully as she could. Then, with one last breath before pushing the open door with her shoulder. Her eyes went wide as she saw what was inside. It was a device, impossibly huge and monstrous. The room was dome-like, with the device at its center. And the shit doesn't look like it's from an anime, it looks like a photograph of a real-life 3D model. There was a faint, eerie sound that echoed through the huge space. It was low, like a beast roaring. The sound meant the device was running. Noah too. It's already online. It's all thanks to you. A voice answered her. When she heard it, she felt terror in her very soul. Rimi Sakihata. It's been a year and a half, hasn't it? Rimi's instincts were screaming in terror. Her heart started to pound and her body began to shake. Terrible memories assaulted her mind. Her dark past was threatening to come back. She shook her head gently and gripped the G-sword to give herself strength. Then she turned toward the direction of the voice. The huge device, Noatsu. And next to it was a tall man in a suit and... Nanami Nishijo was being held there. A torn uniform, a bloody bandage on her right hand, a limp, slumped head. She was terribly pale. Nanami was struck wordless at the sight. Like Jesus nailed to the cross. No, it wasn't a cross that held her captive. It was a terrible, almost malicious shape. All the evil in the world, all the chaos in the world, all the wickedness in the world. It was all these things and more. I'm not even remotely interested in where you've been or what you've been doing for the past year and a half. But you'll have to leave. I can't have you wandering around the premises. The man, Genichi Norose, had a calm voice, but there was a knife-like edge to it. Rimi forced herself to stand tall and glare at him. Let Nana go. Oh? So you come here to save your friend. Let Nana go. She has nothing to do with this. Why don't you talk to her yourself then? Rimi was caught off guard by Norose's offer. She was trying her best to stand strong, but the second she'd seen his face, her legs had started to shake. She called out to Nanami without moving from where she stood. Nana! Nanami's head suddenly moved. Her eyes closed just a little. She looked up. Her empty eyes stared at Rimi. Are you okay? I'm here to help you. In the middle of her sentence, Nanami's face began to twist in pain. Her face was pale and her breathing was ragged. And then her body fell from the cross. Nana! Hey, Rimi. Nanami was lying on the ground, only her head moving. It was as if she was looking for something. She stood up slowly and began to search her surroundings with the left hand. Bangle. Your bangle, right? Sure, I know exactly where it is, so come on. Let's go. Let's go to the hospital, okay? Rimi realized that something was wrong with Nanami and turned her eyes towards Norose. He smirked as he silently watched their conversation. What are you making her see? Nanami's gaze was locked on Rimi. She slowly staggered to her feet like a newborn fawn. She reached her right arm toward Rimi. The bandage was soaked with blood. It looked like her hand was still attached, but bright red drops, one after another, were falling from it. A pool of blood was forming at her feet. She needed medical treatment, fast. But despite her hurry, Rimi couldn't get any closer. Getting closer to Nanami meant getting closer to the man next to her. Rimi almost cried out of sheer frustration. Did you take it? Nana, let's go home, okay? Come with me. Why are you stealing it? Give it back! Give back my bangle! Calm down, Nana. My brother gave it to me. It's something so important to me. I don't want anybody else to have it. Give it back! Give it back! Nana! A pained scream. A drop of blood fell from Nanami's wrist. The drop crystallized before it hit the ground. Something that looked like a mineral ore appeared out of nowhere around it. Like some kind of inorganic shell had burst through a hole in space. The crystalline ore suddenly fused into a single shape. It seemed far more like a cross than the thing which had been holding Nanami. Or maybe a sword stabbing straight downward, rejecting everything around it. A D-sword! Nanami held the sword to her chest, embracing it. Her tears of sorrow fell on it, and it began to flash crimson like a beating heart. No. Nana was a gigalomaniac too? Nanami was crying. She was trying to hold back her tears, but they fell from her eyes anyway. I gave her a single glance, then I looked back up to the ceiling and returned to counting the rust spots. Don't say that! You can't be an illusion. I've known you since we were little. Sure, maybe you're a helpless dork and I have to do everything for you. But you've always been with me. That's right. Nanami was right. I remember Nanami from when she was little. I had my own memories of being young too. I remember being in elementary school and not being able to go on the field trip. And how I'd watched the bus with my classmates on it get into an accident. I even remembered Mr. Saito, my teacher, who died. Who should I believe? Rimi? A girl I didn't even know? Or my little sister, who I'd grown up with? Wasn't the answer obvious? Rimi was lying. Nanami was telling the truth. And if Nanami was real, then so was I.
Nanami.
I reached out a hand toward Nanami. Her existence was my only hope. She was the one thing that could possibly save me.
助けて。Nanami. 助けて。
If Nanami's warmth was real, I could prove that I was real too. Nanami had been sobbing, but now she wiped away her tears. She turned her red-lidded eyes to me and gave me a sad smile. I nodded. Again, and again, and again, and again. If that would save Nanami, then it would save me. I'd happily give my bratty little sister as many hugs as she wanted. After all, she was my only little sister in the whole wide world.
Nanami. 助けて。
I wanted to feel her warmth as soon as I possibly could. So when she slowly leapt into my arms, I wrapped my arms around her tightly, tightly, and tried to hold her. And just before I could, a pale light appeared around her body, and she dissolved into a million glowing pieces of light. The lights burst like bubbles in the air, one after another. My outstretched hand touched nothing. There was no warmth at my chest. In front of my eyes, Nanami disappeared.